What's going on, fellow nerds? This is Neji here, bringing you another ending to another great game. This is one that it took me a couple years to get to with all that was going on, and I knew how big this game actually was, but eventually I was going to get to it, and it is Horizon Zero Dawn. You can probably tell by the title. But, this is something I recommend everyone to play, and I honestly am surprised it took me so long to get to this game. Probably because I didn't know exactly what it was when I first saw it. But, once I dug a little deeper into the lore and figured out exactly, what it was, I was like, all right, so let me go ahead and get into this. And what you're seeing right now is actually the end game boss, pretty much. It's a big, I believe they call these the corruptors. And these basically have many aspects to it that you gotta whittle down. As you can see, I take on a couple of the parts to try to like whittle it down a bit, because that's what you do with a lot of the enemies in this game, and it is so unique how you get to take down different ones in different ways. There's many types, and a lot of these machines they're based off of different animals. I don't think this corruptor really is. Actually, I don't think this is the corruptor. I forgot the name, because the corruptor actually turns other machines into corrupted. But it's one of the big baddies, and it's one of the ones that I don't think is based off of an animal, because you got some that are like leopards, and you got like T-Rexes. Seems like ostriches for some of them. Like, they're all unique. There's so many in here, and you get to take them down in many different ways. And it's one of the cool parts about this game is how unique all of these guys are. And the story is a crazy aspect too. Like I said, I didn't know exactly what it was, but once I dug in, I just find myself digging deeper and deeper, and I still find myself doing the same thing to this day. I like to stay up on some of the better games and how their story is and how it evolves, and how it unfolds as time goes by, and the updates to it and everything, which this game has a great post-game DLC, by the way, called The Frozen Wilds, if you get to look at that. But yeah, this game is set in a post-apocalyptic world, but it's in the future, which is a nice aspect. Basically, without giving away too much detail, this game is about how machines started becoming self-aware, and it has to do a lot with AI, and the machines start to, I guess you could say, fight back against humans, or they become too smart and they want to become their own, civilization, or, become their own. And humans knew that it was a downward spiral because of these machines were so strong. They knew that they could not beat them. And I don't want to say too much about Aloy or the humans before her, because I still don't want to give it away for many people that didn't play the game. But basically, this is post-apocalyptic after that, after the machines have decided to become their own, and now they're roaming the world pretty free. They're the big bads, while humans are fighting to stay relevant. And that's kind of why you see me using a bow and arrow and lobbing bombs, is because I can't just walk up to a lot of these with a machine gun or an RPG. Because humans had to start over and become their own again, a lot of those weapons just don't exist anymore, and so you got to be crafty and sneaking up, and you can mind control a lot of these guys and everything like that. But it's really cool, and I say the lore really shines when you actually dig into the humans before the fall of mankind. That's where it will really shine, and I say that's where you should like really look into it. But there's so many great things about this game. The world is humongous, like it's ridiculously huge. I was happy to see that there was a teleporting mechanic to like fast travel to different areas, and the areas are so beautiful. Like, God, there's like snowy areas. I mean, it kind of takes a bit of every season. So you could like walk up to like a winter area, There's like a desert area that's like the sun, and there's even a clan that is based in that area. They're a big bad. A spring side that's really nice. Fall doesn't really show in this until, in my opinion, the end. You see it in like the final cutscene that'll play, but other than that, it's still rich. There's so much wildlife. You can, harvest all the wildlife. You can even harvest the machines, and a lot of times you have to progress. And there's just so much you can do with it. Like, oh man, so many upgrades, so much crafting. It was overwhelming at first, but once you finally buckle down and know exactly what you want to focus on to level up, it's very rewarding, and you get that feel. That also the Greek gods with I don't want to mention the Greek gods, but in a way their names are important. So how can I put this? Basically, the AI that become self-aware and become smart enough to fight for humankind, and the ones that fight against humankind, they're based off of two of them. And the names, the parallels with the names are actually really cool. So the one that fights against humankind is Hades. He's the big bad. He's like the main one, and he's who we're currently fighting to shut down right now. And the one for humankind is Gaia. Gaia is very nourishing, and she really cared for the humans when they were when they were still trying to fight to stay their own thing. So it was really a good contrast to Greek mythology and how they stayed with that. There's also other ones in there, but I just don't want to give away too much. But just know that a lot of the Greek god names kind of parallel with a lot of the machines and how they operate, which is really cool. And also Aloy, the main character, she is bad man. When I loved Lara Croft as she's another one I compare Aloy to just because of her toughness and the realness of how she feels when she plays. Aloy is up there. She definitely is strong and fights like her. Has that gritty determination, especially with figuring out exactly who she is as a person. And that's another way that the story shines, is that Aloy has to kind of come into her own person. But it works out in the end, and man, is she bad. I could see her surviving with a lot of the other big name protagonists. And just imagine if she had better weapons. You gotta play this game to know just how cool she is. She's so tough, and just she's an outcast to humans in a way that I don't really want to give away. But she deals with that and takes it in stride, and you just got to see how it works out. It's very rewarding. So at the end of the day, I do have a rating for this game, and I ended up giving it about an 8.5 to about a 9. And a couple reasons were for that. First and foremost, it just had a weird climbing mechanic that had me, knock off a bit. And it's really, my big problem is that there's certain places you can climb, and sometimes it's just not apparent. Like sometimes it's just not easy to see on the screen. And I played on different screens just to kind of see, is it just me? I've asked other people. They've said that they kind of had a weird feeling as well. And sometimes, it's just easier to climb a certain area, and you're either A, supposed to, and it's hard to climb, or B, you're not supposed to, and you could just bunny hop up a mountain or whatever. And in a weird way it works out, because there's always a way to get above and around things, but you could tell it's not the way that they wanted it to be, and it just needs some polishing when they go on to do a sequel. Other than that, the load times are pretty crazy. I get that this is a big game, and it could take quite some time. I'd say like a good portion of at least an hour to like ride from one side to another and see different aspects of each environment. As far as the snow and the sun and in the springtime and the rain, which the rain effects are, oh my God, so amazing. But anyway, Yeah, it's just the load times were a little crazy. I did look up some information on how people would use a PS4 Pro or they'd use an SSD to make it go a little faster, but I mean, it could be something to be polished up on to where you don't got to go those extra steps to be able to not experience that stuff. But I mean, I digress. I guess it's just something that we had to deal with to get a game of this caliber, because really this is a game of the highest tier. And it's definitely worth it. But you should definitely give it a try, because news has just came out that there will be a trilogy now for this game. And when this lore expands, oh my goodness, it is going to get wild, because there is a lot to read and collect, and just you're going to want to know about this world. I guarantee it if you haven't played this game already. I know I'm late, but man, I just had to show my appreciation to such a great game. If it wasn't for those two things, the weird climbing and the load times, for me, it would be an easy 10. Easy. But I mean, it's all good. Let me know what you think, and let me know how you like the game. If you want to talk any lore in the comments, let me know. I'm all for it. I love this game, and I hope you guys have a good one. Neji signing off, and good MorNooNight. Dum dum diddy.
The wiring to an auto battery and solar PV, so the grass caught fire, and so did a tall pine that had stood there. I don't know, maybe 100 years.
Query, you were how old?
6. My mother was home, thank God, so she called the fire department, and after, she took me out to the lawn and showed me the dead baby birds, because there were nests in the pine tree.
Query, what did you feel?
I'm not sure. I remember yelling that I didn't care, and that's when my mother took my face in her hands and spoke.
Query, what did she say?
She said I had to care. She said, Elizabeth, being smart will count for nothing if you don't make the world better. You have to use your smarts to count for something. To serve life, not death.
You often tell stories of your mother, but you are childless.
I never had time. Guess it was for the best.
If you had had a child, Elizabeth, what would you have wished for him or her?
I guess I would have wanted her to be curious. And willful, unstoppable, even. But with enough compassion to heal the world. Just a little bit. Anyway, that's all I've got for now, Gaia. Time to tuck in.
I wish you a pleasant sleep, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I'll catch you tomorrow.